Yeah, this is Sheria Dive. Today we're talking about the Finance Bill 2024. This is still a bill. Some of these proposals are still under discussion. So the law allows you to actually come and give your feedback to these matters. And I'm going to be sharing how we can do that later. But some of the highlights are this. Banking services will cease to be VAT exempt. And I'll be talking a lot more about this. But every time you do a transaction with your bank, there'll be a 16% VAT that is charged on that service. And that will affect your bank balance, of course. But this is not just for banking, because it's going to also come and affect mobile money transfers. So when you transfer money via M-Pesa, you can expect more charges to come in. Now, for those who are retired, the retirees, the allowable pension deduction has been increased from 20,000 to 30,000 per month. This is, of course, is a very good development. Now, there is an eco levy that is being introduced, all right? And we'll be talking about this because it ranges from 98 shillings per unit to 1,275 shillings per unit. Now, on import declaration fee, right, it is being bumped from 2.5% of customs value to 3.0%. So there's an increase of 0.5% on that import declaration fee. Now, let's talk about banking services. Now, once you make any advance or you grant credit, okay, so let's say you take a loan from the bank, now VAT will be slapped on that loan. Then also check handling, processing, clearing, and settlement will attract VAT. The issuance of a credit and a debit card, when you go to the bank and they charge you that 500 shillings to give you a new card, there is a VAT charge on that. Telegraphic money transfers are also going to attract VAT. Foreign exchange transactions, including the supply of foreign drafts and international money orders, also attract VAT in this proposal. Then, where you have a unit trust or you have a collective investment scheme, it is registered by the Capital Markets Authority and managed by the trustees of the scheme, that will also attract VAT. Now, we're going to have a problem here because you realize that the banks are not going to just take this cost themselves. They'll want to pass it on to the next person, and that is going to be you and I. Now, in that bill, they'd like when we talk about tax disputes, part of the challenge has been, how do you compute the days for a tax dispute, okay? So one of the suggestions that the bill wants to introduce is that when they are computing the period, Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays will be excluded. So that means that moving forward, when computing the period, you'll only use business days, which is Monday to Friday, right? And they also do not count the holidays. Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority wants the Data Protection Act to be amended so that they can access your personal data. Now, remember, Section 51(2) of the Data Protection Act creates, or rather binds, and creates a protection for you and I as, the data subjects. Now, there is a new section that is being introduced, which is to say that disclosure is necessary for the assessment, enforcement, or collection of any tax or duty under a written tax law. Now, remember, under the Data Protection Act, certain parts of your data cannot be shared with any person. But what the KRA now wants to do is to ensure that they are never exempt from looking at your data, which means that one day if KRA wants to look at your M-Pesa statements, if KRA wants to look at your SACCO statements, anything, then they have access to that. They are not limited in getting access to that data. I don't know how this is going to be received, but what we're seeing here is sweeping powers for the Kenya Revenue Authority. Those of you who like to eat bread in the morning, that's your breakfast, VAT, the supply of ordinary bread will cease being zero rated for VAT. It used to have VAT at 0%. Now we are going to see VAT coming in. And of course, some of the reports indicate that bread is likely to rise by as much as 10 Kenya shillings. So if you're buying it at 50, just know you're going to be buying it at 60 shillings. All right. Now, the government also wants to introduce an eco levy. An eco levy will be charged on office machines at 98 shillings per unit. So just look at all the laptops you have there in the office, 98 per unit. Calculating machines will be charged at 225 shillings per unit. Automatic data processing machines will be charged at 225 shillings per unit. Art and accessories at 98 shillings per unit. I don't know why we are taxing art. Telephones, including smartphones, at 225 shillings per unit. So if you have 1,000 telephones in your business, times 225. There you go. Microphones and speakers, even us here in studio, 98 shillings per unit. That is the eco levy coming. Monitors and projectors will face a tax of 1,275 shillings per unit. And there's also a class of diapers that will be subject to the levy at 98 shillings per unit.